Today I'm going to be making tofu patties, and we're going to start with some tofu. We've already washed the top of this off with some soap and water because you never know where the tops have been, and I've let it drain for a while, for about 15-20 minutes, and then we're going to just mash it up. Now this is kind of a firm tofu. It says medium firm, but it's more firm than anything. It's the brands run differently. Different brands have their own recipe, I guess, of how much texture they want to it. So we're going to mash this up. Now my brother loved tofu patties. He was not a vegan or a vegetarian, but he said they tasted like his girlfriend's mother's crab cakes. Now, I don't know what crab cakes taste like because I never had any, but that's what he said. And so did his girlfriend. And we're going to use a half a cup of chopped celery, 1 cup of onion, and 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. Now I'm a gluten-free because I'm allergic to gluten. So we had some bread in the freezer, and we had thawed it out a little bit through the microwave with a defrost thing. And then I told my husband put it into the toaster. And it doesn't dry it out completely because you don't have to cook it all the way, but it kind of dries it a little bit to where you can break it up easily. Or you can use, fresh breadcrumbs too. If you use dry, you use a little bit less, so you can kind of fudge on that over which way you need to. Then we're going to use a tablespoon of McKay's chicken, and then 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. I use the granulated, but it's the same ratio. Garlic or onion or whatever granulated is the same ratio to powdered. And then I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary. Now I'm going to break this up in my pesto because rosemary is long pieces and it doesn't really break up much, so I like to use the mortar and pesto for this and break it up a little bit more. And I know it seems like you're not getting a lot of herbs into this, but believe me, they're pretty strong. And then we're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of marjoram and a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon of Bragg's. To do that, I'm just going to put some in here. Okay. And then we're going to use 3 tablespoons of oat flour. Let's mix that up first. So we're going to take the 3 tablespoons of oat flour. Now it always helps to add a little bit of water. I have some over there. Sometimes if your tofu is a firm tofu, you're going to need a little bit of water to make that oat flour get sticky. Now, if you're not vegan, you can use, or if you're not gluten-free, actually, you can use the regular white flour. That's up to you. I'm gluten-free, so I use the oat flour. Okay, we actually had to use a little bit more oat flour, a little bit more water. So about a third of a cup of oat flour. It really depends on your tofu. If it's real wet or if it's not as firm, it really helps, makes a big difference. Okay, so we want it to be more or less sticky, kind of. And use this burner over here. And pour in some olive oil here. You can use coconut oil if you like, or olive oil. This is a little hot. Now when you go to make your patties, take a spoonful of it. You want to build the sides up to like a wall, because if you don't, they spread out too much and then they fall apart. You can cook these in the oven on a cookie sheet. That's totally up to you. They're a little bit drier. They're not so much oil in them. You can spray that cookie sheet or put it on a parchment paper and spray it a little bit and then put these on there and then turn them halfway in between. Cook them for maybe 20 or 30 minutes at 350 and then turn them over. You just want them to brown on the bottom. You can use these in a sandwich or you can make them for dinner. A nice patty and vegetable and salad, some mashed potatoes or rice makes a nice dinner. When you fry them in the pan, you want to make sure you turn them around like this. By doing that, it browns every side, not just one side. Okay, so we're going to turn these over. Now those look nice. You want to flatten them just a bit, not a lot, just so they can cook. You don't want to make these real big and thick. They won't cook on the inside then. So we're ready to pull our tofu patties out. These are a little bit soft, so be careful you don't break them all up. They do break up easily. But they make a nice dinner with baked potato or mashed potatoes and gravy and a vegetable and salad. Then you've got dinner. And it doesn't take that long to make them, maybe 15-20 minutes. And you're ready to eat. So enjoy your meal.